Hey, what's up, YouTube? We're here in the shop again today and got some stuff going on. I figured kind of give you some updates as to what we're working on, and then we'll get into what we're going to be working on today. As you may have seen from some of the earlier videos or the Facebook page, we've got this 91 454 SS truck. Got it up on the lift. Just stabbed in the new Crate 502 big block and the Gear Star 4L80E. We got a Dirty Dingo cross member and just got delivered our new Adams drive shaft that we had custom built for this. So we're going to mock that up and make sure the length and everything is good. And then we will pull the engine and transmission back out, clean and paint under the hood, kind of get all that in order, and then put it back in for the last time and start installing. Of course, you guys know the shop bug. You know, slow budget process. We're not spending a lot of money on this one, just trying to have some fun with it. Slowly returning it back to solid orange. Also shaved off the big bulky blinkers that it had on top of the fender. This one, in fact, I've just mocked up the plate and got it held in place by magnets so I can weld that off. Going for that smooth kind of SoCal look. Also, in an upcoming video, we've actually got a project for this. We are going to convert this little 1915cc Volkswagen engine to fuel injected. Bought the Holley Sniper system, and we're going to modify that and make it work on this little Volkswagen, and should have a lot of fun with that. So stay tuned for that in upcoming videos. Of course, you've seen Dylan's CRX in previous videos. We've got that car down now. He's got an event coming up in October, Slammed Enough in Gatlinburg or Sevierville, Tennessee. And so we're waiting on some cams that are coming in this week. We've got some new camshafts and valve springs. The head is off of it right now. It's just literally sitting there on a piece of cardboard. We had it milled and inspected and everything. It was great, but now we've got to send it back to the machine shop when the new valve springs get here. And then we'll put the new Cometic head gasket and ARP head studs and a few other little goodies and get this thing back together and get it back on the road. So stay tuned for that. Guys, we've got this LJN that earlier last week we actually put a 4-inch lift on for the customer and swapped axles. We put a set of Dana 44 axles out of a Rubicon in this Jeep. This is a non-Rubicon LJ, but we put the Dana 44s under it from a Rubicon. So here in the next day or so, we're going to go ahead and get it torn apart and get the Dana 44s re-geared from a 410 to a 456, and got some new chromoly shafts and Eaton E-lockers. We're going to do away with the little air lockers and put some Eaton E-lockers in this to really get it set up. I've got a new set of wheels and tires over there for it as well. That we'll do when we button the project up. So again, if you don't see it in an upcoming video, log on to the Facebook page and you'll see edited and finished content about this this build. Kind of got a special project in. It's a good friend of mine inherited this car from the passing of one of his best friends. So we were gonna try to take this car. It's a 68 Chevelle Malibu, and we're going to try to take this car and make sure it's performing as well as it should be. It's a 383 stroker. It's a 4-speed car. So we're going to do some tuning with ignition and some carburetor verification and tuning, just to try to make sure we're getting all the power out of this car that we can, make sure that it runs, you know, correct and to its full potential, and then give this car back to him, a special new owner. This is one of those cars that he'll have the rest of his life, just due to the circumstances of how he inherited it, and it'll be a great tribute to his best friend. All right, up on the rack today, we've got a little 2-door JK. Customer bought this Jeep brand new, has had it for all these years. It is a 3.8 liter, so this is an early JK. I'm not exactly sure. I think it's a 2010. Again, we are you know, constantly working on Jeeps and doing different projects. This customer had us lift it recently, and after we put the lift and wheels and tires on it, he's not in love with the height of the step up into it. He's a little older gentleman, and he loves the Jeep, but he does want to be able to get in and out of it a little easier for him and his wife. So went to the internet, of course, being a rough country dealer, install the rough country power side steps, what they call the E-board. Install those all the time on Jeeps, and unfortunately they don't make an option in a two-door setup for the JK. They do make a two-door option for the JL. So today we're going to have some fun modifying a set of JL steps to make them fit a JK, and we'll take you along on that ride. All right, guys, we're going to tear into this kit. Again, this is not designated for the JK platform. This is a JL set of side steps, but I think with a little fabrication, we can make it work just fine. Let's dig in. All right, I'll get it opened up, and we'll itemize and look over everything and get started. All right, guys, opening it up, we've got the long boxes actually contain the steps. The outer boxes have the motors, and Rough Country's one of the benefits that Rough Country has is it actually has 2 motors per side, where some of the other brands have 1 motor and an idler. So again, we've put on many sets of these on the JL and JK platform, or JKU platform, just not for the JK. So I'm going to look at these. These actually bolt directly to the pinch seam on a JL JK platform, and then the underside bolts to the body. I'm going to go ahead and get one side mocked up and show you what modifications we had to make the JL steps fit the JK. All right, guys, well, first step's not going too bad. Actually mounted them on the pinch seam, and I'll show you in just a second, but it really, you know, kind of followed the basic installation of the JK or JL, just with a minor modification. So let's take a look. All right, guys, the motors for the JL platform, the holes are just a little wider apart. This is the JK factory holes, so I just had to drill over one. Of course, they're going to be pretty close together because it is a 2-door. Same thing for the front motor. Instead of using this location, I shifted it over one for better clearance from the bottom and drilled a new hole here. And then, as you can see, I actually went in and pre-drilled a pilot hole and used a large self-tapping sheet metal screw going into the sheet metal body. Put Loctite on all of the bolts, and if I can get this to focus, there it is. Put Loctite on all of the bolts, and you can literally hang off of these motors. They are extremely secure. They are part of the Jeep, so it looks like it's really going to work out. I'm going to go ahead and mock up one of the steps on this side, and see how that does, and then we'll go to the next step and see what it looks like. Well, hey, look at that. They bolted right on. They seem to fit the body really well. They seem to fit the body lines. We'll get those wired up and go ahead and make sure it's going to operate really well. And if it does, we'll go ahead and do the other side and go from there. All right, I got to thinking about it, and I decided that I'm going to have to go ahead and mount the passenger side motors as well. Go ahead and get those in place because we still have to put on this little control unit, put it up in here between the motors so we can plug everything up to test fire it before we run all the door switches and everything, just to make sure that they're going to function. So I got the passenger side on exactly like the driver's side, Loctited all the bolts, put those nice, self-drilling, real strong, good bolts up in there with new washers, Loctite on everything. Again, ridiculously secure to the Jeep. So we're going to go ahead and mount this unit up in there now, and we'll take a look at that. All right, guys, you can see that we went ahead and installed this little control panel. Ended up going with steel pop rivets, ridiculously secure, super strong. Now we'll get this thing mocked up with the wiring, put the other passenger side step on, and then we can do some testing. All right, guys, here's the main wiring harness. Looks a little bit kind of overwhelming until you really lay it out and there's not much to it. We're going to go ahead and plug all these into that little ECU on the passenger side between the step motors, and then we'll route these over to the driver's side, clearing all exhaust, driveline, transmission, everything. One of the harnesses will go directly to the battery, and the other harness with the multicolored wires here will actually go up in through the floor to the proximity switches on the door jambs. All right, so we'll get started putting this on. All right, guys, got the wire harness just mocked up. I've got all the motors plugged up on both sides. I've got the wire harness just loosely ran over and across, you know, obviously making sure it's going to clear everything. We'll certainly button that up before we do a final install. I've got the driver's side motors plugged up. The 3 wires that go to the interior, white is for the driver door, brown's for the passenger door, and then the 2 black wires are for the switch that disengages the steps if you've got the doors off or you don't want to use them. So what I'm going to do is go ahead and for the first time, I'm going to throw the switch and see if they come down like they're supposed to, and then that'll let us know if our install is going to be able to move forward. Nice smooth operation. Customer is really going to be happy with this. Yes, let's go ahead and take a look. That's the passenger side. We're going to hang the switch temporarily, go around to the driver's side. Same result. Again, this isn't a super custom install. I mean, the steps are doing exactly what they're supposed to do on a 2-door JL. It's just the fact that we've modified some small things to make them fit a JK. So, you know, not changing the world here, but I do think we're going to do what takes necessary to make the customer very happy. So we're going to go ahead and finish up running the wire harness, and then when we get up to running the door proximity switches, we'll touch back in and go from there. All right, guys, got the wiring pulled up through the floorboard. There's 3 wires that come up, a white for the driver's side, a brown for the passenger side door, and then 2 black wires, which is really 1 circuit intercepted by a switch. What I typically do is run the wires down under the carpet. I bring them in, run them underneath this seal plate, and then put the proximity switch right up here by the striker. And I usually just put the on and off switch under the seat. You can see it kind of under there. That way it makes the customer have access to it, but not have to worry about you know, having a hole or something in the dash. So it's accessible. It's something they're not going to use very much, but want to make sure they've got access to that. Got those wires ran on both sides, driver and passenger. Now we're going to go over, we've got the hot leads run up from the main harness and the little computer. We're going to hook those to the battery, and we'll start mounting the magnets on the doors that fire the proximity switches and see if we can't get these things to work. Got that wire harness wired up, of course, hot to hot, ground to ground. With Rough Country, they actually fuse both leads, which I thought was really cool, extra protection for your vehicle. Right now the steps are in the up position because I've got the switch turned off. Just on it. They look really good. I think the customer's really going to be happy with it. Now what we've got to do is in the area where the proximity switches are mounted from the wire harness, we've got to do a corresponding magnet on the door that triggers that. And I'm going to go ahead and turn the steps on now. Lowers them down. You can see the lights that are integrated with the wire kit. So that'll be really nice at night when you open the door. It really lights up and highlights that step for you. So let's go ahead and get some magnets put on. So the kit actually comes with these magnets. It's a really neat design. It prevents, like some of the other kits or other brands, where you have to actually cut and tap into the wiring for the dome light. These use a magnetic actuated switch. So right now the step's down. Of course the door's open. I don't have the magnet attached yet, but if I go in and fool the system into thinking that the door's closed, and the steps go up. So I'm going to go ahead and get these magnets mounted on the door, and we'll see the operation. And there we go, guys. A couple hours worth of work and a few small minor modifications, and we've got a set of the Rough Country e-board electronic power side steps designed for a JL platform mounted on a JK. Steps light up, everything's great. Shut the door. Steps return to home. Hey, we appreciate you joining this page this week, the channel, and as always, like, subscribe, and share. And again, check us out on Facebook, richtersoffroadperformance.com. Thanks, and we'll see you next week.